Every generation rises or falls by the strength of its altar. An altar is not stone or wood. It is a spiritual system of contracts, a place where heaven and earth exchange authority. Nations that forget the place of intercession begins to crumble from within, because the voice that guards their gate grows silent. When God raises an intercessor for a nation, He is not just looking for someone who can pray. He is seeking for a custodian of alignment, someone who will stand where others bow and speak when others are silent. A national altar is never built in public first. It begins in the sacred place of a burning heart. Every true intercessor first feels the weight of divine pain before carrying divine power. God reveals to them the cracks in their nation's foundation, the injustice, idolatry, bloodshed, and corruption that cry from the ground. This revelation is not to condemn, but to intercede. The intercessor becomes a bridge between divine mercy and human weakness. At that point, prayer shifts from personal needs to spiritual legislation. The intercessor starts to pray from a higher court, the court of heaven, where they plead the case of their land. Their tears become testimonies, their words become decrees, and their obedience becomes incense before the throne. To build a national prayer altar, one must gather spiritual stones. These are sacrifice, holiness, obedience, and truth. These are not mere virtues, they are the ingredients that hold the altar together. Prayer without purity is like incense without fire. It rises but carries no fragrance. Sacrifice means availability when it is inconvenient. It means waking when others sleep, fasting when others feast, and standing in prayer when others crow through distraction. Consistency turns moments of devotion into a structure of authority. The intercessor becomes a living altar, carrying fire wherever they go. The second key is unity. No altar built in isolation can carry national weight. Intercessors must find each other, no matter the denomination or tribe. When voices gather in unity, their sound forms a covering over the land. This is how cities are preserved, by collective remembrance of God's covenant. Once the altar is raised, it must be maintained. Every altar needs oil, the symbol of continuous intimacy with the Spirit. Without fresh oil, the flame of prayer becomes ritualistic and dry out. That oil is renewed through worship, humility, and study of the word. Fire represents passion and revelation. Intercessors must keep the flame pure by avoiding bitterness, pride, or political bias. You cannot intercede for what you secretly despise. The intercessor must love their nation deeply, even while mourning its sins. Alignment is the final pillar. A national altar must be aligned with God's prophetic timetable. Every nation has divine seasons. Every nation has divine seasons. Moments when heaven leans close to change destinies. The intercessor's role is to discern those seasons and call them forth. This is why sensitivity is greater than noise. It is not how long you pray, but how accurate you pray. Leadership and land intercession begins at home. A man cannot legislate for a nation if its household altar is broken. When families restore morning and night prayers, a ripple begins. The same spirit that sanctifies a living room can later govern a parliament. Next comes intercession for leadership. Every leader, righteous or corrupt, is a gate in the spiritual architecture of a nation. When you pray for a leader, you are not endorsing their decisions. You are clearing spiritual interference so that truth can reach them. Some leaders are blinded not by will, but by warfare. Prayer lifts that veil. Finally, you stand for the land itself, the soil, the rivers, the borders. Speak blessings over your nation's resources. Break cycles of bloodshed by invoking mercy. A national altar is not complete until it speaks peace to the ground. Intercessors, they rarely receive public recognition, but heaven knows their names. While others chase visibility, they carry invisible as a crown. Nations sleep safely because a few chose to stay awake. To sustain the altar, intercessors must avoid isolation. They must build community of prayer, mentor young watchers, and document their prophetic insight. When one generation passes, another must inherit the flame. Ultimately, a national altar stands or falls by one thing: disobedience. Every instruction received in prayer is a brick in the wall of preservation. When obedience becomes complete, the land begins to heal.